Salutations, everybody. It is Maddie here, the lover of story-driven hentai, with week 14 of the Ham Radio podcast.
And it is me, the King of Kangaroos, the Lone Vault Wanderer.
My name's Noah, and this week I'm hosting a fight club on my arc.
This week we have a very esteemed guest. Would you kindly introduce yourself?
I am Charles Battersby. I'm the writer of Shoddycast's Fallout lore series and several other post-apocalyptic projects.
Sweet.
Nice.
Hell and yes. This is so exciting. I love it. Now, would you just tell us all about yourself? You sent me, like I said, that whole list of awesome stuff about you, and I just want them to know everything you've done.
All right, so the laundry list. I put some stuff that's relevant to this podcast. I write the Shoddycast Fallout lore series. I've done the first 2 seasons, and we've already done 5 episodes of season 3. You can see the first episode of season 3 right now if you're a Patreon donor. Mm-hmm. Some other fun things I've done. I wrote a play called That Cute Radioactive Couple, which is a...
That sounds awesome.
Thank you. So it's a romantic comedy that's inspired by Fallout and a little bit by BioShock. It's about a couple that are trapped in a bomb shelter that's built for one, and in the days immediately following the end of the world.
Sweet.
And if you live in Chicago, you could have seen a reading of it just a couple of days ago, but you missed your chance. But we tend to do readings of it. Yes, if this podcast were recorded several days ago and you heard it then, you could have done it. But if we do readings of the show at video game convention, so maybe the next PAX East, you'll have a chance to see it.
Sweet.
Awesome.
And now I also do voiceover work occasionally for video games. I have a cameo.
Yeah, the voice.
Yeah, no doubt.
Well, this is my phony radio voice. When I do stuff for games, I use my real voice, which sounds like this. And sometimes I do, my sexy voice, which sounds like this. But in reality, there is a video game coming out called Grim Facade: Hidden Sins, and I play kind of a Batman-like anti-hero, and I talk like this throughout the whole thing.
This is awesome.
Well, so you're the new detective in town.
That is awesome.
I'm so glad we got him.
If you Google it, you can see some of the early people have done like Let's Play videos of the early demos of it. So you can Google it and hear my goofy voice.
Sweet.
And some other fun things. I'm a video game journalist. I write for Complex. I freelanced for Joystick and Automaton and a few other major websites. And I occasionally do panels at video game conventions like PAX East and New York Comic Con. And a couple of my panels, Chris Avallone from Obsidian has been on a few of them, and we've talked about stuff.
Sweet.
And
so fucking cool. Oh my God.
And I both have been to the New York Comic Con, and we love it.
Oh, awesome. And to continue the laundry list of stuff that people might find interesting, I'm writing a couple of characters for Fallout Lone Star, and you guys had Christopher Means on a few... actually, you had him on like a few months ago, and then...
He was like our second or third guest, yeah. I want to say.
So if you go to the Fallout Lone Star website, you can see Rona Ransom. She's one of the characters I'm writing, and then there's a couple of other things that are like in the works that we want to do once once the project is on its feet.
Sweet.
And let's see. Here's another fun thing for the laundry list. I'm a pretty well-known cosplayer, and I have cosplayed as a Vault Dweller a couple of times.
Have you?
Awesome.
Very cool.
Yes.
Loving it.
And, to tell a funny story about that, my wife and I both dressed up in Vault suits and went to some video game convention, and Bethesda was there selling their Fallout mugs, and we wander up to the Bethesda booth, and the salesperson, is obviously just, a salesperson working the booth that doesn't know much about the games. And she's like, so are you guys looking for anything? And we're both like, we're looking for a water chip.
Oh my God.
Excellent.
And, we just get this blank look, and I'm like, tell me about rope.
Jesus.
I could imagine the expression on their face.
Exactly.
Awesome. So
I have to say, you were probably our most seasoned guest we've had.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the proper way of defining it. anyways, let's get into our standard intro. So we now have Ham Radio podcast shirts. Noah, would you like to go ahead and take that one away?
If you were an unfaithful, horrible, awful, very bad fan and didn't listen last week and missed all the fantastical things that I have to say. I mean, honestly, what I say that isn't fantastical doesn't exist because all I have to say is fantastical. But anyways, we did open up. I'm totally kidding, by the way. I'm not that egotistical. But we did open up a store. It was in the works for a while. It's on Spreadshirt. We had a few people order some stuff off, which is pretty awesome. Matt, you tweeted out some pictures of you wearing a couple of the shirts and stuff, and they look awesome, honestly. So big shout out to the artists that helped us, Henry and Angel. You guys are awesome. And they're working on new designs now, but you can check out some of the designs we have on there.
Annotation on the bottom left corner, link in the description.
Yes, so check them out, buy them, and send us your selfies with them on. As my voice cracks.
Yeah, I'm not trying to like over promote them, but like we do want to remind you guys about them every week. But I gotta say one thing on the side is that I was actually incredibly impressed with like how good the designs came out on the t-shirts. Like nothing looked stretched or anything. They were just quality t-shirts when I got them in the mail. I was actually really stoked when I put them on. But anyways, one other thing is right now we're going to start showing you guys the results of the Photoshop and meme contest. I forgot to do this last week, so if you're not looking at your screen right now, you guys can go ahead and turn to do that now. We're showing you the Photoshop results of Noah with his foot up on the counter in his bathroom, as well as the meme for me. I just put up a picture of myself, and I was like capturing this because I was trying to be like deep and take a selfie, and we got some really funny ones. I can't even specify them. There were so many submissions, but we try to do this every now and then. Just try to get you guys in there.
If you follow us on Twitter, real quick, if you follow us on Twitter,
you just ruined my segue.
Shut up. If you follow us on Twitter, you're gonna see a lot of that kind of stuff. So it's more reason to kind of hop on that bandwagon.
I can't believe that. I like Twitter followers, but you ruined my beautiful segue.
What do you want? Are you part of a
getting you
podcast
guys
or something?
involved? Speaking of getting you guys involved, we want you to potentially be the fourth member of this podcast. So be sure to tweet at any of us with their handles on screen using the hashtag HamRadioTime with your answer to the following question. What were you doing when Fallout 4 was unofficially revealed? Speaking of Fallout 4 being unofficially revealed, which I was sleeping during that time.
Yep.
Let's move on to our news roundup. Let's start off with what we were just talking about, okay? Fallout 4 unofficially confirmed this week. How surreal does that sound, folks?
It
is. I mean, I thought I'd never see the day.
All right.
Charles, are you across most of what's happened over the past week?
I've been following it. I mean, Fallout 4 has been unofficially confirmed so many times over the last 3 years that it's like, oh, what, again? Yes. So those people that make Fallout, they've been working on some game for the last few years, and now you're telling me there's a possibility that it's going to be a new Fallout game. So I'm not really astonished. And you know, if Elder Scrolls 6 gets unofficially announced somewhere, I'm not going to be surprised that a new Elder Scroll game is going to be made at some point in the future.
Yeah.
You have nailed. I was going to say, you have nailed the existence of this podcast with that whole statement. Unofficially announced. Let's make a podcast about it. Like, literally, perfect. Anyways, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say that the E3 announcement. I haven't had any kind of official confirmation myself from Bethesda, but the E3 announcement seems like there's almost 100% chance that it will be either or both of those games. Yeah. And again, just let me clarify, I have no official word of God on this. It's just the rational thing to assume.
Yeah.
See, I'm assuming you have the same problem that like me, like basically everyone here has this problem that since we kind of represent like a section of this community, people think we get these inside tidbits of info and we're like just theorizing and speculating. They're like, I bet, like the amount of comments I've seen where people say, I bet Maddie works with Bethesda. It's like, no. I wish.
I've seen so many comments where people think myself and Maddie are involved in this big campaign with Bethesda. And we're making all of these videos.
Actually Pete Hines.
with his
People
cat in his
thought that
giant
the
mansion.
Shoddy Cast videos at first that we were some fully funded viral marketing campaign, and episode 4 would be the big reveal of Fallout 4, and that was a year and a half
Episode
ago.
4 Fallout 4 confirmed.
You heard it here first
Well,
on
actually,
the
the
Ham
number
Radio
of hits
podcast.
that we've gotten on episode 4 is much higher than it should be, just because people must be Googling Fallout 4, and it's like, Fallout lore episode 4. That's it.
That's excellent.
Exactly.
That's happened a couple of times in the past with like a Fallout playthrough.
Put your
where
mic
you-
a little closer. You just
Sorry.
you're a little low.
Sorry about that.
Sorry about
Over the I think I did a Fallout Let's Play, and I had Fallout Part 4, and people fucking flipped out and thought it was Fallout 4. I'm not even joking. It was
They
crazy.
yelled at you for it too. They would be like, "Oh, this isn't Fallout 4. What are you doing?" You know, they would get mad at you for it.
That's a deceptive title.
Exactly.
Don't get me started. All right, so let me give you guys, this is a long breakdown, so I'm going to have to ask that no one interrupts me, because this is a long developed story that finally came to an end after a full day
Okay.
of Fallout 4 being unofficially confirmed. So, Luis Nieves, or Nieve,
Luis Nieves.
yeah. On his LinkedIn profile, a Reddit user spotted under his work experience that his most recent addition to the list was a Fallout 4 cinematic trailer by Murata Studios. Now, Murata Studios is the studio created by Guillermo del Toro, who's like this movie director for like spooky stuff and horror stuff. And if that name sounds familiar, it's because he was involved in Silent Hills, which was recently canceled. Anyways, Luis has been around the industry since 2011 and has worked on multiple games such as Elder Scrolls Online, Forza, and Far Cry 4 when it comes to trailer creation. Soon after Fallout 4 was removed from his list of work experience, most assumed that ZeniMax just asked the guy to remove it to avoid further controversy. What further supports this theory is that the Reddit post that spawned all of this was forcibly taken down by ZeniMax apparently, and they supposedly threatened legal action on this Reddit user. Anyways, the internet could have been left wondering if this was real or not, but Murata Studios entered damage control mode, what I like to call it, essentially spilling the beans on Fallout 4. They sent an email to Destructoid demanding them and multiple other news sources to take down the story from their site because it violated NDA. Considering, in this specific case, Destructoid obviously didn't sign an NDA of any form, this clearly shows that Murata is the one who's in violation and basically dug themselves into a deeper hole by trying to control the chaos.
Very
Wow.
nice.
You done? You done? Read it?
Yeah,
You good?
yeah, I'm done. Yeah,
Just want to make sure
yeah.
that
Feel free to speak now. You have my permission.
I mean, honestly, I don't know, man.
This is the podcast we've been waiting for. That's all we have. I don't know.
It's just, I'm happy. I'm really happy that things are finally, like, legit things are surfacing, not this, like, well, supposedly Eric Todd Dellum say it. You know, I'm happy we actually have some solid stuff. I'm still, like, part of me is still really skeptical, you know, but I'm more confident than I was. So that's my spiel. Anyone else?
Yeah, well, I think this is the first time that, I don't know, all of us, we actually have, I say semi-concrete or kind of concrete news that the game is actually in existence, because I think back at all of the hoaxes that have gone, and I'm thinking, which one of them have actually been legitimate? And I'm thinking, we got the leaked script, casting call scripts, I can't speak English, and then we have like this, so this news has been far and few between, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's surreal. That's how I've been describing it. It's so crazy that we're actually kind of talking about it in a legitimate state, but I'm kind of happy it's happened a little bit before E3 because it's allowing it to sink in for me to kind of be prepared. I don't know how else to put it, but
Mentally get prepared.
yeah.
Fallout fans having strokes all over the planet when the announcement comes.
Exactly. But
Well,
no,
what do you think about this whole thing, Charles? Like, this is obviously a huge, like, long developing story that just went from A to Z real fast.
All right. Well, I mean, as a journalist who's, you know, often in contact with Bethesda, they have not told me anything about the mystery project they're working on. You know, so there is no confirmation that I've gotten as a journalist that as to what the mystery game is. And anyone that is working on it, or either doing the publicity for it, or any journalists that are working with it, they've almost certainly had to sign a massive non-disclosure agreement that would prevent them from even acknowledging the existence of the game. So if people if people are concerned about ZeniMax silencing people that talk about it, everybody working on this knows well in advance that they've signed a non-disclosure agreement, and they're not supposed to put it on their LinkedIn. They're not supposed to tweet about it. They're not supposed to take an Instagram of them holding the script or anything.
Right.
So, everybody associated with, this mystery project, and, with Battlefield 6 and with Mass Effect 4, and none of which I have any confirmation exist, but,
surely...
Yeah, surely they do exist, and surely people are working on them, and everybody involved has signed a huge non-disclosure agreement, and they know that if they break it, the publishers are well within their rights to get all of it taken down.
Oh, yeah.
See, the thing that interests me most about these NDA agreements, and I'm presuming that everybody that has even touched Fallout 4 has had to have signed an NDA.
No doubt.
But then we go back to that, and I keep harping on it, but the first Eric Todd Dellum's tweet where he said that you might be seeing more of the Three Dog yet, and then he said, I had permission to post this. So I'm wondering if at that stage was Eric under an NDA, and whether it was actually true that he did have permission to post this, and why was it so... why didn't we hear anything from Bethesda or anyone related with Bethesda since then? And why Eric? Exactly right.
Because, and that's the thing, because I watched, funny you say that, Lon, I watched an interview from a while ago, and Eric himself said Bethesda didn't expect it to blow up. That's why he was allowed to say it. Bethesda didn't expect this massive generation of excitement and just pure hype from the fans. And when it happened, it blew up in Bethesda's face, and that's kind of why I think starting from there, they put a can on anything involving Fallout 4, because one tweet sent the internet crazy, and that was kind of the start of IGN covering it, and everyone just being on top of it. So I feel like Bethesda, they said, even though he was under NDA, they were like, yeah, you can go ahead and just tell your fans they might see you, give them that inkling of hope. And that was just enough to kickstart this entire hype train that's been going on for years now.
Yeah.
And also what he tweeted was pretty vague. When he says you might see more of Three Dog, it's hey, at E3 they might be announcing Bethesda Crazy Kart Racing, and Three Dog,
and Three Dog is a playable
character. An unlockable titty character.
Yeah, Wayne Gretzky hockey too. Yeah. Jeez.
Or there could be a Bethesda Smash Brothers where the Fallout characters. Three Dog beats up the Dovahkiin, and
yes,
fuck yeah,
that's a good idea. Someone do
honestly,
that.
I'd be so fine with that. I'd be like, oh, all right.
Except it's an Rogue Warrior in there. Oh my God.
Bethesda, if you're listening.
Yeah,
really, this would sell like hotcakes.
We know Pete Hines listened to this podcast. I mean, let's not get it twisted. Come on, Pete.
Honestly, does he?
I don't know.
Because honestly, when you were saying that, I was like, wait, did he tweet to one of you and say? Because I don't know.
I know there was this period of time where he answered any question under the sun, and one person asked him, "Do you watch Mr. Matty Plays?" And he says, "I've seen his stuff before."
Oh, he knows you exist.
So yeah, he knows I exist because let me tell you a funny story that pisses me off, Pete.
Oh my God,
this dude fucking follows me on Twitter and then unfollows me 5 minutes later. I didn't say the damn thing about Fallout, and this dude has the balls to do that. I was like, really, man? I think he thought I was gonna DM him and be like, dude, give me inside info. I was just oh, cool.
I think it was more so a way of him saying, I know you exist. It
upset me.
And now Pete Hines is missing in action from Twitter for about a week now.
Well, that's actually, I don't want to cut you off, but just that's kind of, that's one of our fan questions, so don't fucking speak about it.
All right, fuck.
Well, you haven't read us the fan questions, Matt, so are they going to be what they were last week, huh? How old were you when you lost your virginity, huh? Are they going to be that, Matt?
God, no. Not this week.
Charles is just instant regret for joining this podcast.
Don't worry, we chose good questions this week. I think. I don't know. I haven't chosen.
One expects dignity on a video game podcast.
Like, one expects. Does one get it? No, not at all. These fans are far too much. No.
All right. Sorry about that. Once again, it's not a ham radio podcast without technical difficulties.
Exactly.
So the internet fails us yet again. But what we were trying to segue into was a discussion about the Fallout 4 cinematic trailer that is rumored because of this unofficial confirmation. Now, what I was saying was, what do we expect from this? Because it's by Murata Studios, presumably, who does apparently kind of spooky stuff. Do we expect that same kind of panning out of a certain area and just showing a post-apocalyptic area? Yeah, we're feeling that.
Yeah.
You don't think there's anything different?
Well, the thing is, if you remember the Fallout 3, I think it was the launch trailer. It was either the launch trailer or a TV ad. But it was started out, you heard the classical music, and then it zoomed out, it was the radio. And then it zoomed out even farther, it was the bus, in downtown, whatever.
That music.
Charles for picking up a little bit of music on your mic.
Oh, that's the drug dealers that like to loiter on my corner.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah. They're all over my corner.
Let them continue.
But it would zoom out, and then you had the pan of like the downtown destruction. So I definitely think they're going to take that route again. I wouldn't be surprised even if they copied that, but to like a nostalgic sense. That's my opinion.
I think that kind of panning out from, starting from whatever, then you see the Brotherhood Paladin, it's such a good way to give you a sense of the world and of one of the main characters or factions that you will see, because you can start from this, inconspicuous spot like a TV or a ham radio, funny enough, and then that way you can see how the Wasteland, is essentially, and what kind of setting that you're going to be playing in. So I think the panning out is a really great way to get a sense of that. And on Bethesda's side, it's not all too difficult to do. I mean, they could have like the highest quality CGI popped in there, and people aren't going to be like, oh, you showed us this CGI gameplay, which we thought was going to be in the game, but it wasn't really. In this way, it doesn't blur the line between CGI trailer and we're trying to make this look like gameplay, but in reality, it's CGI, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, unlike some games, Star Wars Battlefront.
Oh, Watch Dogs.
Watch Dogs. Yeah, Ubisoft and EA all together.
My question is, I'm gonna have to break it to you right now, bro. I'm gonna have to use your fucking file again. I've been told this whole time. I'm like, just whatever. I'll cut out a chunk of the podcast.
All right, we'll use Lone's file.
I shut off Fraps, shut off Skype, whatever.
Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna have to solve this. Anyways, do we expect to see any new factions in this trailer? Usually what I've noticed is in these pan out trailers, except for like Fallout 1, they kind of panned out to a TV. But specifically 3 in New Vegas, it seems like the focus has kind of been to pan out and show like like you said, Lone, a core faction. Do we think that we're going to see like a new faction, or are they going to show us something familiar off the bat?
Familiar.
Like, yeah, you think? I don't know. I think since it's going to be like the new generation of consoles and stuff, like I feel like everyone gets this focus on new, and I just wonder if they're going to kind of make you think like, what is this faction or something?
What about you, Charles? What's your feeling?
Well, there's 2 things. First is that this is the new generation, so there's a whole generation of players that are in the perfect target demographic that were just born when the first game came out. So they're going to be introducing Fallout as a franchise to an entirely new group of players. But then there's, tens of millions of hardcore Fallout fans. So they're going to need to do this trailer in a way that those of us who know the game are going to be able to say, ooh, I know that.
Right.
Yeah.
But everybody else is just saying, oh, this Fallout thing seems like quite an interesting universe. I think I'll try one of these Fallout games.
That's a really good point.
That's what I was kind of trying to lean towards. That makes total sense.
Yeah.
And another thing, and they did this with the Skyrim trailers, that, you create the protagonist in your game. So when they show a default Dovahkiin, or, Mass Effect did this with, they had the default Commander Shepard, and they did it with the Dragon Age games too. So, if you have a cinematic trailer that shows the protagonist of the game, then you're creating, the iconic look for the character, which, like with the Dovahkiin, Dovahkiin, he's wearing the crappiest helmet in the game.
Yeah, that's I always found
that's the
funny.
iconic thing. Yeah. And so, that's the mistake that they made with marketing that game. And they're going to need to focus on something else, have the character in a full body suit of armor, like the Brotherhood of Steel, or, something awesome that you will want to get later in the game, but that still obscures who is actually wearing that armor.
So that's a really good point, because even with, for example, female players that would see this cinematic trailer and see a male character, a male protagonist, and that might make them feel disenfranchised a little bit, I think. So even having the person in the CGI trailer in a full suit of armor, Brotherhood, Paladin, or whatever, that way you can't really distinguish between genders, and then also actual particular facial features.
Yeah, Anita Sarkeesian in Feminist Frequency. Not Twitter just
rolls eyes,
it, but but she actually pointed out that Mass Effect 3, it was marketed as though it's about a white guy running around with a gun, and that default male Commander Shepard was used in all the advertising.
See, I don't like that. Not to go off topic too much here on something that will probably rub someone the wrong way, but like I don't like that claim, because I feel like Mass Effect's one of the few series where like people love like male Shep as much as fem Shep. People love fem Shep. I just find that a little.
I haven't played Mass Effect, so I can't.
Oh, whoa! I almost fucking fell out of my chair. Oh my god!
Go out, buy them right now, or no, go out. Steam, buy them right now, play them.
Oh, if any of you want to gift it to me, you can.
Gotta get them on Origin these days.
Oh, that's right.
No, 1 and 2 are on Steam. One's a little dated, Lone. I played it last summer. One's very dated, but you should play it for the lore and the story. It's like 14 hours if you just want to focus on the story.
Yeah.
Mass Effect 2. Oh,
I think there's like one audio log that's 14 hours long in that game.
Holy shit!
But go on.
But Lone, Mass Effect 2 is one of the best video games ever.
I don't even have enough time to.
It's really good.
I don't have enough time to do anything lately.
Quit your job.
Quit my.
Wake up with your girlfriend. Quit your job. Play the games. That's what we're trying to say.
Yeah, be like me and Noah.
What?
Right.
Make sure you get Lair of the Shadow Broker. It's the best DLC for the game.
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've actually played that one, honestly.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah.
Mass Effect's one of the greatest series. So, Lone, if you ever have free time, how about that?
So if I ever have free time, trying to finish GTA, trying to finish Wasteland 2, trying to finish still fucking Wolfenstein.
Wasteland 2, like, you can't leave that game and come back, I realize.
Wasteland 2 looked really cool. I never got to play it, but it looked cool.
I'm still waiting for the upgraded visuals that they said that they would roll out, like last year, I think it was. They're meant to be having improved graphics. Anyways, we're getting off topic.
We're gonna get roll back
so,
this train.
Any final thoughts on the cinematic trailer, what we want to see from it? You guys are saying familiar with the... Oh, that's what I was going to say. One last thing I want to mention on this trailer is that when we were talking about like setting up the iconic protagonist, what they're going to look like, in the Bethesda E3 2008 trailer, I think it was, when they showed gameplay for Fallout 3, one of the first scenes you see is it zooming out from a TV, and then it's like the Vault 101 jumpsuit on the guy's back, kind of setting up what essentially was the iconic character. Mm-hmm. So I wonder if they're going to do something like that as well. I'm going to dedicate a whole video to this, but I want to have a brief discussion on this as well. With this game being in development for so long, I don't want to sound greedy, but why just a cinematic trailer? Does anyone kind of agree with me on that? Why just a cinematic trailer?
Because they're having 30 minutes of gameplay behind closed doors. It's happening, apparently.
Oh, yeah, so, just give us the nice movie-like look of the game that we're not going to... Well, that's one thing, though, I got to say, now that I'm going to take my words back, is because Bethesda doesn't show actual what the gameplay is going to be like in cinematic trailers. It's always just that kind of, at least for Fallout, like I said, it's that panning thing. It's not like people shooting guns and shit. It just shows you the world, the universe, and the character, which is awesome to me.
I think it really does. It sets an eerie scene or a really immersive scene for Fallout. I mean, I could easily watch the trailer for Fallout 3 and really feel pumped to play the game just because of the way it's constructed. So I think if they were to do a similar thing, people would get really pumped to play the game and not try and just take it on face value, or this is just a CGI trailer, as opposed to, oh, this is a really, really cool trailer that makes me want to play the game and makes me really excited.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Oh, that was my wife sneezing.
Okay. All good. So let's get final
alright.
thoughts from everyone on this trailer.
Yeah, so my thoughts are the trailer's I'm gonna make my prediction on the trailer. It's gonna show a new faction, and it's gonna do the similar panning kind of thing that it does every Fallout trailer.
Charles?
I think this cinematic trailer is just the one thing that's been leaked. So there'll probably be a dozen trailers, and every companion and faction is going to get their own little teaser video, showing what they're going to be like. And, those could already be well in the works as far as we know. And just this one trailer is the only thing that's been leaked.
That's a really good point.
Noah?
Well, now I'm thinking about like all the factions and stuff and the possibility of like the trail. Like now that's all my mind's like, oh, Noah's excited.
You just said like a trailer for every faction, and I'm just like, oh my god, that's like 20 trailers.
Literally, that's what I was like, oh, I didn't even think about that. I was like, that's such a good point. That'd be so cool.
Now, Charles.
What?
Charles can admit, right? You're going to be doing cosplay at E3, and you're working with Bethesda. You're undercover, aren't you? Just admit it.
Yeah. For Charles is Pete Hines.
He's just that good at voiceover.
And Twitter explodes again. But no, I'm just speculating. Like I said, I have no official word of God information from Bethesda.
Yeah.
But when Fallout 3 came out, YouTube was in its infancy. I don't think we even had Facebook back then, and so the social media marketing and the buzz and the viral marketing is going to be through the roof when this mystery game appears.
Yeah,
that's true, because that's kind of when Twitter started to grow a little bit around the time Three Dog teased that was like 2011-ish, 2012. When was that? So that was kind of like when people started to shift from Facebook to Twitter.
I know that's when I did.
Yeah, same.
Yeah. But
anyways, Fallout hoaxes. It's, we can't even have one of the best weeks in the Fallout 4, or in the trip to Fallout 4 rather, without a big hoax that has misled everyone. So, another story. Once again, thanks to a LinkedIn profile, Reddit users discovered what could have been some exciting news. Unfortunately, it was the exact opposite. On the artist's LinkedIn page, we learned that he worked on games such as COD 9, Uncharted 3, and most importantly, Fallout 4. A look at his portfolio showed, quote, his work for Fallout 4, end quote. Unfortunately, the models that he referred to as his work for Fallout 4 were actually the jacket/character model of Crystal Dynamics' Lara Croft. The other was a beast-like creature that looked something like inside the temples of Tomb Raider, but I could be wrong with that assumption. Lone, you kind of went on to say that looked like a death claw or something in your video.
Yeah, I kind of jumped.
I didn't look too much into that one. No, it's all right. I was just saying that, man, can't have just a week free of hoaxes. It's gotta. What's annoying about this one is that it actually tricked a lot of people because it happened at the same exact time. I shit you not, same time as the cinematic trailer. So people thought these two things were connected, and they were claiming it was cinematic trailer art. So when people were seeing this and saying cinematic trailer art is fake, people thought that the cinematic trailer alone was fake. So they were like crisscrossing and getting braided up, and people were thinking like both were fake.
Yeah. Honestly, that's what I did. When I saw the original picture with the model on the screen and stuff, I saw that, and I'm not gonna be like, oh, I knew it was fake, but I did kind of realize it was fake because they went to the trouble too. I'm pretty sure that whole photo is completely digital. It's not even like someone took a picture of their screen. I'm pretty sure the reflection of the person taking the picture is also a Photoshop. Like
no. So what happened with that, there was a Facebook post about it, and then a person on Facebook was able to gain access to the portfolio, and then he took a picture himself. So in both of those pictures, it was his
I know who that person was.
Sorry?
Vault of Daedalus.
Probably.
Yep.
Shout out to Vault of Daedalus.
Yeah, he's the man. He literally was like, I found his personal Facebook page if you want to take a look. I'm like, what? Oh, yeah.
See, this was crazy.
Like, did you notice this?
This was crazy when it happened because, as Maddie said, it all happened at once. So I'm in bed thinking everything's going to be cool, and then the news about the trailer and Louis Nieves, or whatever his name is, came out. And then as soon as I made that video, Vault of Daedalus just fucking tweets me this picture of this CGI art or whatever. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to have to make another video about this. I didn't even think about it. I just thought it was related. You know what I mean? And I probably should have looked into it a little bit more, but that kind of, when people were so hyped up about the LinkedIn profile, and then that picture was thrown into the mix, people weren't really rational in their thinking and just thought, and myself included, thought, oh, this must be related. And it turned out that it wasn't, obviously.
I think we're in for a whole month of this kind of stuff.
Oh,
it's going to grow increasingly more absurd and more blatantly fake as we approach E3.
Yeah.
I'm Someone's going to draw like a death claw on a piece of paper, take a picture of it, be like, leak images of a death claw confirmed. You know, it's like,
no, there's already people trying that. I've been getting a link sent to me recently, and it's not podcast worthy. That's why it's not listed as a topic, but it's worth discussing that people are trying this now because something on Reddit has been posted a lot, and it's like a leaked cover art, and it's so bad, but it's like people are like not falling for it, but it's getting attention, and that's going to lead to a lot of hoaxes. So I agree with you, Charles, that this is definitely not the last of it. You know, it looks like it could only, you know, like this is the end of it all. You know, this is a big leak, but I think this is the beginning. Yeah, I think we're gonna see a lot more.
This is depressing.
It's both depressing and exciting because I love just I feel like personally the journey to Fallout 4 will be more exciting than the actual launch of the game at times. Because just looking at
disagree.
Well, I mean, yeah, in the long run, obviously no, but I'm saying like the thought of it, you know, because I haven't seen the game, so it's like more so just the thought of it compared to like the journey is more exciting to me. But I like it because it's a community effort. But it's gonna be exciting when like, you know, we're all like in our 30s and we're looking back at Fallout 4 and we're like still discovering things because this podcast will last.
You act like 30s is like super old.
I'm saying I'm trying to put a realistic standpoint because like we're looking back at Fallout 3, which came out 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And we're still discovering new things about that.
Okay, that's true.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we're 7 years ahead of time now. Let's say releases this year.
So when
in the old days, we had something called the YouTube.
Back in my day,
in front of your face to get them. And
I ran a podcast.
Grandpa, what's a podcast?
Before you kids with your telepathy.
Jesus, genetic mutation.
You have to be in a DLC.
Developed a hive mind and enslaved us all.
So specific. Anyway.
Oh my god, it's cracking me up.
Yeah, I just leaked the storyline for Fallout 4 there. I apologize, Bethesda.
All right, hold up. Here's a great idea, all right? Fallout 4 in the radio. You have your own segment like Daring Dashwood. With those funny voices, it would be fucking hilarious. Or somebody create a mod for it. Can we do that, Charles? We can organize
where the podcast plays over.
And people actually have wanted that. If the podcasts were more frequent, I'd say let's do that. Just have the mod get updated every week.
I mean, well, daily, but
yeah, no. If it was like an every twice a week thing, that would make more sense. But it's. I think the idea of like, you know,
hard to update.
Someone does like Conrad Radio, I believe, which is like a whole new playlist of songs for Fallout 3 in New Vegas. It's really good.
I saw that. That's crazy. So what? He updates it every week at like 1 a.m. a particular time. I think that's what I heard.
I mean, maybe he used to. Now it's just like hundreds of new songs just on the game, and that's it.
Cool.
You know, which is fine with me because like Fallout 3 has like. How many songs do you say Fallout 3 has? I can't remember. It's like, it's a decent amount, but like they don't get old. And like going through hundreds of songs was like...
New Vegas got real old real fast.
Well, I don't like...
Johnny Guitar. Shut the fuck up.
My Johnny.
Oh my God.
And the ranger with the big iron on his hip.
Those are the only songs I remember, honestly.
Iron. Oh my God, I can't, dude. Fallout 3 had fantastic music. If you disagree, you're wrong.
Yeah,
but
it's like no option to be right.
Yeah,
wrong. I don't fucking know.
Do you know what Bethesda should just do? Like, I understand the complications behind having to try and get licensing rights for different music. It's expensive. It's an involved process. I completely understand that. But
also, especially for old songs too.
Especially for old, like. I tried, no joke, went back like last year for my YouTube channel. I just wanted one song from Fallout. One song, right? And this is in Australia, so it's a bit different. But there are so many people that you need to contact because it's like 40% of this publishing company owns the song, and then 30% of the company owns the voice lyric version of the song. So it's so involved. But yeah, it was crazy. It was
Well, you
crazy.
just got to remember though, that's like someone's job in Bethesda.
Unfortunately,
yeah, to like get
That
this stuff
poor
to work.
person.
So
That's
it's
the
not,
lawyer. Yeah.
yeah, that's a lawyer. Yeah, Lone, that's what you do. No, I'm just kidding.
That's it. But honestly, I didn't think it was that hard. I thought, I could go to one company, I'd be able to give a particular licensing fee to use a song in my videos from now on. No, that's far from the case. It is a completely involved process.
Is this why, like, for example, Gopher, if you saw his video on Fallout 4, he had like clear cut without editing or anything. He had a song straight from Fallout 3.
No, see, Gopher, he's a managed partner, so he can just do whatever he wants, and he doesn't get picked up by Content ID. And then if for example that a publishing company or the I don't know what company you'd call it, but who actually owns the rights to those songs, they could DCMA, DMCA, whatever, Gopher, and get those videos taken down. But it's not part of the automatic Content ID system that always sweeps around like my videos, for example.
So he's still kind of, I mean, it's always risky on YouTube with music in general, but it always it improves the overall video experience. My videos without the ambient Fallout music, like, I don't know, it bothers me. I listen to my old videos and without the ambient music, and I listen to them now. It adds this whole vibe. It sets the tone.
Really does.
I feel. It makes a difference. Like, I love the one that you use, Lone. You use it straight from YouTube, and that's a really good one.
I struggled to find that one, but I found it. It was called Nevada City. This is excellent. So I started using that from now on. Anyway,
our final piece of news this week is not related to Fallout, but it's interesting nonetheless because it's a growing trend in the industry that's bothering Matthew. Dishonored Definitive Edition has been submitted for classification on the Brazilian Advisory Rating System website by Bethesda and is slated for release this year. If Bethesda comes out and says not a word about Dishonored 2 and announces a definitive edition with all the DLC up-res for new powerful consoles, I will be mad. Am I the only one who will be angry about that?
At this point, I just want Fallout. If they want to talk about Dishonored,
that's not an excuse. Everyone says that. I don't care what happens at Bethesda's conference. I just want Fallout. No. All right.
I guess I'm everyone, Matt.
I guess you are. But like, I that doesn't give them an excuse to just shit the bed for the rest of the conference. Like,
Jesus.
Wait,
I got no problem with. Sorry, go on.
No. Continue.
Well, I have no problem with definitive editions because there are a lot of people that just didn't buy that particular game on the last generation of consoles and kept thinking, well, I'll play Tomb Raider sooner or later. I'll play Dishonored sooner or later. And, it may be a good sign that, and I have no word of God on this, but maybe there'll be an ultimate definitive edition of Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. It'll be released on the new consoles and fancy schmancy high res.
That's what a lot of people have been saying. I don't know. Like, I feel like since the modding communities are so strong, it'd be so pointless. Like, Bethesda doesn't want to do it, whereas there's no modding community at all, or mods in general for Dishonored.
They were saying, I remember when they were talking about the paid Skyrim mods, Bethesda said, I think it was something really small, that 10% of people that play Skyrim play with mods, right? And maybe the numbers are very, very similar for Fallout. So how many people have been playing Fallout without using mods? The vast majority of players. So maybe they would benefit from having a definitive edition. But I understand your point, Matt. It's a tough one because everyone on PC will kind of feel a bit disenfranchised because we've played up-resed Fallout for so many years now. And then we kind of wish or hope that they would focus their efforts on Fallout 4 or something like a newer game, something that we haven't seen before, but I don't know.
Correct.
It's a two-sided coin.
I agree with what Charles says. Some people just think to themselves, oh, we'll get around to it, But what I think to myself is that just in April, last month, PS3's one of their free games of the month for PlayStation, I know it's very specific, but was Dishonored. People
that happened before, didn't it?
They had Dishonored free weekend, and it was like $5 on Steam. 360 also had Dishonored for free for Games for Gold at one point. It's not like this game hasn't been inaccessible, and a lot of people are really excited for a sequel. Where I feel like slating a definitive edition release for the end of this year almost will take away from Dishonored 2, which people are just kind of like, I don't want to rush the developer, but like they're almost like, come on, get on with it now. Like,
I feel like maybe it's
talk
work
about it.
spent somewhere else that like make it like redoing the game, not redoing the whole game, but retexturing certain areas and stuff like that. It's almost like it's more work being put into a game that it doesn't necessarily need. The game was fantastic. I'm not saying that, but focus your work more on the sequel rather than the definitive edition. Now, again, only time will tell what actually is being shown.
One thing I want to mention is that that Dishonored was never like a graphically pretty game. What was really good about Dishonored was its art style, which was really good. But that doesn't really necessarily translate with an up-res on new consoles. It'll look better, don't get me wrong, but the art style for Dishonored is what made it visually unique. It wasn't more so its graphics, so to say. Its graphics were very reminiscent of BioShock, to be honest,
I was about to say that.
And BioShock I'm actually playing on my PC recently, and I'm not, the graphics, no offense, even on high settings they look like shit.
All right. Here's a question then.
It holds over well because of the art style, in my opinion.
Here's a question then. Would you be happy with a BioShock Definitive Edition? Would that be
BioShock 1, 2, and then all the Infinite DLC? Yes. Like BioShock 1, 2, Infinite, and the DLC for Infinite? Yes. Because that's worth $60. That's 3 full games, and then it's all... What's another thing is worth mentioning is that all of this universe ties together.
Yeah.
I would be cool with that.
Like,
one thing I do want to say, though,
BioShock?
is the definitive... Not to interrupt you, but the definitive edition, or whatever, the upgraded HD collection thing I want to see is bring back the old Fallouts. There are so many people who haven't played it, and just there's something that intrigues people when they see this type of new edition come out or whatever, or this that brings a game into current times. And I feel like the old Fallout games are something that I need to experience, that everyone should experience if you like Fallout quite a bit. And
that may be easier said than done, because you have to remember when we had Chris on, and he was talking about how annoying the GEC was to use and stuff like that.
That was on like 90s. That was like really old school.
90s. But
yeah, Interplay. It was Fallout 1, 2.
Oh, I'm talking. Wait, are you talking about like Fallout 3 being redone?
No. Fallout 3 New Vegas, I don't think. I'll be excited if they are redone. I'm talking about Fallout 1 and 2, though.
I'm sorry, I was misunderstanding. Okay.
No, you're right.
Do you mean keeping the 2D format or porting them over to some kind of Skyrim engine where you're doing the same
that's a whole...
missions?
In my opinion, I mean, I'm just spitting ideas out now, but like that's a whole game, in my opinion. I feel like just, I don't know how to word it, like modernizing it a little bit, making it look a little more appealing, like redoing a few things here and there, but keeping, like you said, that whole 2D overhead kind of look to it.
So maybe take a lot of ideas from Wasteland 2.
Yeah, exactly, actually. Make it look a lot like Wasteland 2.
You heard it, Bethesda. Make it look like Wasteland 2. I'll be happy with that.
There were technical issues with the limits of PCs back then, and that's why they had a very limited number of character models. So one of the things that bugs me about playing the first Fallout especially is I'll walk into a room, there's an NPC that looks exactly like my character, and we'll be fighting a bunch of guys that look exactly like my followers, and then friendly fire is turned on, so I can't tell the difference between Ian and the pack of Ians that are attacking.
I was about to say Ian. Like, I walk into a room, I'm like, all right, me and Ian, I got a good follower, this is awesome. And then I'm like, wait, Ian, what the fuck are you doing there for? And it just gets too confusing. I don't like it.
So yeah, like little things like that can be updated. I'm not making it sound simple. I know modeling characters and stuff, that's not easy. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like that would be worthy of an update. This is a game that came out in 2012, end of 2012 rather, that people can, if they want to really go back, they've had the option to go back for free. If they do have to pay, they have to pay $10 max at GameStop, or you can wait for a sale on Steam. There are so many options to play this game, like with any game, but it's more so because of how recent it is that bothers me. I don't feel like it needs a definitive edition. I feel like a game that's old school, like Fallout 1 and 2, could use, an upgrade. It's an old game from the 90s. I think bringing that back as a little thing, as like a thank you to the Fallout fans who have been clamoring for Fallout for so long. Here's, something like this. I know we shouldn't be rewarded for constantly prying, but I'm just, like I said, just spitting ideas.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough. Anyway.
Yeah, see it my way or die.
Jesus.
Anyways, let's move on to segment 3, the Bethesda Spotlight, where we highlight our favorite moment this week, or if we have a guest, they highlight.
We highlight them.
No, I fucked up my English, I realize now.
Yeah.
But they highlight their favorite moment from Bethesda game, whether it be Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Rage, Doom, Battlecry, etc.
Any game.
Any game that's been on a release that I just listed.
Brink 2.
That's actually on that E3 bingo list for Bethesda. Brink 2 is like right in the middle. I'm definitely going to play that. I'm going to print that out and play that.
No.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, not to go off track, basically Vault of Data has created what is called the Bethesda E3 bingo / drinking game, if that's your thing. And
if that's your thing.
Yeah. And so
because the 12-year-olds that listen to the cat. No, I'm just kidding. Okay. Anyways.
Hold on. I'm going to read you guys.
Why don't you just link it in Skype? We'll check it out.
I'm just going to read it because that's a lot faster.
That's it. Okay.
So Bethesda's E3 bingo board is, it's got things like Pete's sarcasm, audience claps over them. You see X, you can Y that, like, you know, from Todd Howard, you see that mountain, you can climb it. Elder Scrolls Online expansion / DLC, paid mods comment, quotes, massive open world, Dishonored 2, mentions leak, The Elder Scrolls 6, Todd laughs, Brink 2, Fallout 4, our modding community, in quotes, new IP, conference starts late, Wolfenstein, technical issues, The Evil Within, CGI trailers, mentions hoaxes, in quotes, the power of next-gen consoles, in-engine trailers, in quotes, immersive experience, and then multiplayer added to Elder Scrolls 6 / Fallout 4.
Wait, did you see was that the one with Wayne Gretzky Hockey 2 in it?
Yeah, actually, I realized oh man.
That was the new one.
Okay, let me read you guys a new one. Just bear with me.
The only thing new is Wayne Gretzky Hockey 2, right?
No, there's so many new ones. It's totally different.
Todd gets overly descriptive.
Success of Skyrim. He mentions Twitter, mobile app or game, Doom gameplay, Pete is sarcastic, book / comic series. Let me see, is there anything else new?
See that X, you can Y on it. That's excellent. Oh man, we need to
immersion,
play this.
Wayne Gretzky.
Hockey.
30 minutes in without Fallout 4. Awkward moment. 2015 release date. Todd walks on stage.
These are fantastic.
Vault of Data. This is excellent. Well done. Yeah. Wait, what were we talking about before Bethesda Spotlight?
Yeah, that thing, that segment we do like every week.
We should probably hop back on that.
Yeah, should we do that, Noah?
Yeah. So I'll go first since I'm talking. Punk. My news. I'm gonna talk about my news first. Well, okay. Actually, my game news, my GTA 5 was Matt, and Eddie, or Matt, Eddie, and I had played golf recently in the game, and we just sat there and cursed each other out the entire time. I think I've used that before, but I don't care. It's a lot of fun. Anyway,
no, you haven't,
okay,
but
good.
It was so much fun because it was like late at what time?
It was like 2 a.m. for you.
Yeah, it was like 2 or 3 a.m. where I was, and where Eddie and I were.
Yeah. And
I'm trying to think of like a specific standout
moment.
Was
horrible in golf.
Eddie couldn't sink a putt to save his life.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
And then my news is the fact of Division.
What are you doing? That's segment 4. Have you been here for 14 weeks or no?
What do you mean? It's the news. I thought it was like...
Oh, it's just the Bethesda Spotlight.
So, Charles, this is a professional podcast.
I'm sorry. I fucked up.
You can save that news then. This is the Bethesda
I'm
Spotlight.
saving the news. I'm saving it. Someone else go.
Would you like the new guy to moderate?
Yeah.
I'm new here.
I was just checking Twitter and letting that go and follow its natural course. But, Charles, why don't you add your Bethesda Spotlight? I know you've prepared.
All right. Well, from Fallout, my spotlight is an unmarked quest called the Sorrowful Suitor.
What?
So this is a thing that was added in the Broken Steel DLC, and it ties into some locations from the main game. So right at the end of the underground metro, there's a scene where you fight the level boss at the end, this giant, super powerful security robot. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of that battle, there's this holotape lying on a bench near the exit. And the first time I played this mission, I was having so much trouble killing the robot that I didn't even notice this holotape. But the second time I went through, I found the tape, and it's like a minute and a half of an audio log. And for those of you that don't really pay attention to the for those listeners who don't pay attention to the audio logs, a minute and a half is really long.
Yeah, it's usually 30 seconds.
Yeah. Ish. Yeah, so whoever wrote this audio log, made this dramatic monologue where some woman is talking to her missing lover, and this is the message she's left behind because they've been separated, and there's some mysterious package that she just wants to get to him. And, the actress is sobbing while she reads it. And so you can tell that whoever wrote this, this is like his chance to write Shakespeare, and the voice actress doing it is like, what, I'm in some stupid video game? Oh, drama. and there's this great buildup, and then you go through all these hoops, you finish Broken Steel, and you get back to the main wasteland, and you find out that this whole thing is some elaborate scheme to get custom-made lingerie smuggled into a particular location for these two lovers to meet.
Holy
I've actually never even heard of this quest, dude.
Well, it's unmarked, so I want to go play it.
Yeah. You have to stumble across this audio log holotape in the middle of a giant robot battle. So I think a lot of people miss it entirely.
That's so
kind of bold on Bethesda's part, to get the voice actor to do the holotape and put all this stuff in there. I know it's not like this huge expansive quest, but to do that where it's easy to miss, most companies shy away from that and decide, we want the player to play this.
Bethesda's not most companies.
Yeah, Bethesda has a lot of unmarked stuff. Just in general.
My favorite unmarked area is this place that you can only see at nighttime. You can go in it during the day, but you can only see it at night. And it's a rock. I've talked about this before, but I always love talking about it because you see this rock and you can see a glimmer of light kind of at the top of this rock coming from the inside. And you walk up to it and it says enter, I think it's Hollowed Rock Cave or something like that. And you walk inside and all that's in there is a little holotape, but it doesn't have a recording on it. It just has writing, and it's teasing the future DLC for what was essentially Point Lookout.
That's so cool. That's awesome.
Yeah, have you ever? I could have sworn I told you guys about it, but that's one I found. I was walking around on stream one time, and he was like, "Why don't you go to that unmarked location?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And then I went and found it. And you go inside, and you just learn a little bit about it. And at the time, it wouldn't have hit you oh, this could be DLC. It was just you read about it, you're like, this is cool. That's really it. But the fact that it's there is, in my opinion, awesome.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, unmarked things are my favorite. I love them.
Well, I'll jump on next. My Bethesda spotlight, not necessarily to do with the games. It's about Fallout 4, yes, but it's to do with all of the hoaxes that have happened over the past couple of years. So I literally just made a video which forced me to go back to my old videos and Maddie's old videos with regards to all of the Fallout 4 hoaxes that have gone, and I tried to compile this list of the ones that I thought were the best. And just some of the things, and hearing myself talking about them and how stupid I sounded because they were so obviously fake. But I got really excited at the time, you know what I mean? Do you guys remember the Fallout Tumblr 1207-2299? Do you remember that?
Maddie, do you remember? Did I make a video on that?
I don't know if you did, but that was a big thing. I don't think
I did. That didn't sound familiar to me.
That one, it was a crazy hoax that went around, and then it was the Bethesda store email, which was sent out from Bethsoft.com.
That one I remember. I was at my friend Connor's house, and I drove home just to make a video on that at midnight.
And then what about the internal E3 demo, or E3 memo rather? It was Fallout 4, Elder Scrolls Lionheart or some shit.
Fake. That was so fake. Why did I make a video on that? That was so fake.
Well, you see what I mean? We got so excited.
From Bethesda.gmail.com.
No, the dumbest thing about it.
A printed out piece of paper.
It was a printed out piece of paper. But it had a handwritten signature, and we're thinking, if this is a memo sent out to hundreds of employees, you're not going to have Todd Howard handwrite his signature on every one of these memos. It I was just reminiscing a little bit, but they were good times, even though it was shitty at the end, because the Fallout community came together. We got so excited about like the Morse codes and everything to do with Survivor. It was a good time. It was a better time, I reckon.
Yeah, I've realized the shitty part about YouTube is you always go back and watch your old videos and you always think to yourself, usually, wow, I was such a fucking idiot, when in the moment, like right now, I'm thinking I'm on top of things. I'm probably pretty smart. Give me a year. I'll probably look back and be like, wow, I was fucking stupid as shit. Like,
I want to link.
Like you look.
I want to link you
back
guys
at
my
yourself.
first
You're like,
video.
wow, I was dumb.
I want to link you guys my first video where I was like, this is the title, no joke, yeah. Fallout 4 news. Fallout 4, an official Xbox One exclusive. And I look back on that like, what were you thinking, Lone? Fuck! You stupid idiot.
My first video was called Favorite Levels of All Time. And one of the worst intros, I showed Noah it because he was in it, in a way. What happens is I go, what's up, everybody? It's Maddie here, and today I'm bringing you guys the first episode of my brand new series, My Favorite Levels of All Time, and all of a sudden it says on the top left, yo, it's Noah, sent you a message. Instead of being a smart YouTuber and continuing ignoring the message, I go, oh, hold on a second. And I open the message, I listen to Noah's 15-second message, and I continue. Anyway, you were like, because like, I guess I said something when I left the party, and you're like, I know you're recording right now, but I just want to let you know that when you left the party, you're like, oh, dude, and it was really funny, and that was it. It was like, it was so
remember that.
Oh, can you link me to that video, please? I want to watch it.
Yeah, I was watching it. I was like, why didn't I just stop the recording? Why didn't I just?
Why didn't you just ignore it? Like,
yeah, like why didn't I just say who the fuck cares and move on with my life? Like,
I do that to you when you're streaming though. I'll send you Steam messages and stuff. I'm that person. Hey, I see you streaming. Like,
that's why I turn off notifications, because of people like Noah.
Got like the TGN TV intro and everything.
You don't have to link it right now, but yeah.
I don't have to? Well, Lone wants it, so I'm gonna hear that. That's the sound of a link popping up in your Steam chat.
I'm gonna watch it. No, I'm not gonna watch it right now because I don't want it to play.
Literally the first 15 seconds.
I don't want it to play audio over my headset. That's the only thing, because sometimes my headset does that.
Yeah, it does do that a lot.
Fuck you.
Cool.
I'm watching videos right now. You don't even know it just because I have them.
Okay, yeah. So you just made up a bullshit excuse and lied to me in the middle of a podcast.
I can't. Okay, Matt.
I'm gonna fucking
Matt. No, we're not gonna fight in front of Charles. Okay, we need to keep it mature. All right. Jeez.
Charles, I tried to control them. I
find it hard to believe the YouTube Corporation gave their seal of approval to this broadcast.
This is absolutely absurd.
Excellent.
My Bethesda spotlight is Wolfenstein: The Old Blood. I finished it this week. In the second half was so awesome. I just wish it was so short compared to the first half. Like the first half, there's so much build up and stuff. And I don't want to spoil what happens in the second half. I just want to say Nazi zombies. It's so cool. And that's not a spoiler because they have publicized this before, but it's like one of those things where, you know, because it's Wolfenstein, it's so cool. And it actually adds a whole dynamic to the game. Like in the first half of the game, they're trying to add this pipe in and like make that this dynamic piece that changes the game. It doesn't. The zombies, on the other hand, have these whole set of abilities and they change the way you play the game and stuff. It's really cool. The final boss is a little underwhelming, but overall, I don't regret spending my money on it. I would recommend it. It's a short, concise experience alone. You can play it.
Why'd you say that so?
Because I don't play video games. That's my... I have too much... I don't have no time on my hands.
I played Tetris once.
No, this is coming from someone that used to 100% games, and now I can't even finish the first fucking quest of a game. It's embarrassing.
Hey man, you grew up a little, life hit you. It's fine, dude. Nothing wrong.
It's depressing. It's anyway.
I don't know why I sound like a hippie when I'm saying that.
Moving
Anyways.
Segment number 4, what we're playing, and our favorite gaming news bit.
Noah!
I guess I'll go since I tried to rush this last time. My game that I've been playing is, I actually played Counter-Strike for the first time in a while this past week. I played it with a couple of friends in the KB mod Mumble.
Friends.
Yeah, and
You're right, Maddie?
I made him look like an asshole. My news is the fact that the division was delayed out of 2015.
Ooh, saw that coming.
Yeah, which doesn't really surprise me, but it was just kind of one of those things, and I wanted to bring it up because the division is one of those games that, it's classic Ubisoft. It's Ubisoft saying this game is gonna be the next amazing thing, and they're on stage, and it's supposedly the on stage demo, and you hear the people in game, and pass a mag, dude. Hold on, I'm reloading. Tango up by the roof, and it's the most fake thing in the world. It's clearly
known for that, but it always gets me. Always gets me. I can't lie. Always does.
My point of that is, I'm afraid this game is getting a little overhyped. It hasn't really gotten too hyped, to be fair, within the last couple of months. But it looks a little over ambitious. Maybe overhyped is the wrong word. It does look really ambitious. But I'm glad it's getting delayed. I'd rather have a good game that took longer than a shit game that was rushed. You know, although Watch Dogs was shit no matter what. How long I played that. But yeah, so that's my little spiel.
I mean, I've noticed a lot of, and reasonably so because of the type of channel Lone and I run, is that a lot of our listeners are really excited for The Division because it's like this post-apocalyptic game that you can play online with your friends. And the world looks really cool because it's like a post-apocalyptic New York City, which I
just hope what I'm seeing is not so fake. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense.
I agree. I think there's so many good ideas on paper, and that Ubisoft somehow, even though everyone who was watching the demo said this is amazing, but there's no way they're going to be able to get this done by the end of 2013, I think is when it was revealed.
Yeah, and now it's supposed to come out in 2016.
Yeah, apparently it's slated for a March or April release, but I'll believe it when I see it. I feel like that's the final delay. I feel like that was the third delay for this game. It's got to be the final one. I'm glad they're delaying it, though. I saw you say it. I'd rather it be delayed and a lot better, especially because it's going to be such
I just said it about 20 seconds ago.
Whatever. I was agreeing. But because it's such an online-focused game, I'm glad that they're delaying it because of that, because I hate online games that launch poorly, as we all know. Go on, Noah. Just roast me about GTA Online and how much that bothers me.
I don't know why it bothers you so much. It's still well done, even though you think it's terrible. You can't get me to say anything bad about a Rockstar game. It just won't happen.
All right, Charles, why don't you go?
All right, well, I've been replaying Fallout 1 as part of my research for the Fallout lore series.
Sweet.
So very early in Season 3 of Fallout lore, there's going to be stuff about the original Vault Dweller and what he did during his adventures. And right now I've been playing everything up into the Junktown storyline.
Wow.
So when you get to Junktown, you can get dog meat. That's the greatest.
Oh, yeah. Actually, I screwed it up this time around. I wore the leather armor to Junktown, and if you wear the leather armor the first time you walk onto that map, it immediately ends the quest.
No.
Well, you get dog meat, but you just kind of like take one step into this new area of the map, and some guy says, "Hey, that dog seems to like you." And it's like,
okay. I see what you mean.
I just magically acquired a dog for no reason.
I actually like that, Chris.
I want to ask, because I'm assuming both of you played the old school Fallout games. I believe this is true, but I haven't read up on it. Dog meat's in like every Fallout game in a way, right? I know Rex is like essentially the another dog meat in a way, but
is you just asking if there's like a dog, like a German Shepherd, basically?
No, because I'm pretty sure dog meat's obviously in 3 in the first one. I know that, but is it in 2 as well?
Yes, if you go to the Cafe of Broken Dreams, which is a random encounter, you can meet a character that's supposed to be Mad Max.
Yeah.
And if you have the precise conversation with him, you can end up recruiting Dogmeat, and then Dogmeat will come and join with the whole party.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. I was just making sure because I had a feeling it was like something that comes with every game. So
we can expect Dogmeat in Fallout 4 confirmed.
Probably. Well, probably what you'll have is, because the breed of the dog is a blue healer, so I'm assuming, like, just so it makes sense, the dog is called dog meat. It's a blue healer, so it looks exactly the same as dog meat. Obviously, it's not the same dog, but it's a callback, to past Fallout games. And I believe Rex is a blue healer as well.
Yeah, I know in Fallout 3 that a dog meat dies, like essentially like another dog comes to replace it. I think it's like one of
his
Dogmeat's.
puppies.
Yeah,
Puppy's
puppies.
birth,
That's what it's.
Oh yeah, I remember that because I felt really bad when he died when I had him, and I was like, oh my god! And then he came back, and I was like, oh.
Dogmeat never dies. You reload an old save and you revive Dogmeat. That's what you do.
Exactly.
I saw that when I was watching that on your stream. Just every
I'm streaming,
like, no.
right? And there's a fucking big super mutant behemoth, and with Fallout Wanderers Edition, it makes Dogmeat and other followers non-essential. So they're like any other character that can die really easily. So I'm like, Dogmeat, stay here. I'm gonna go take care of the super mutant behemoth. As soon as it breaks through the wall, Dogmeat just charges at it and keeps dying and dying and dying. And I'm trying to figure out, how do I fucking revive Dogmeat? It was the most frustrating thing. But yeah, I figured it out.
Yeah, the reload. Yeah.
Yeah.
We didn't mean to cut you off though, Charles. You were talking about what you were playing in your favorite gaming news.
Way to go to come.
Oh yeah, so I've gone up through the Junktown adventure, and I've also been playing Battlefield Hardline, which I think is a very noteworthy game. I wrote an article that's going to be on automaton.am in the very near future, maybe by the time people are hearing this.
Oh.
And so for listeners that don't know about Battlefield Hardline, it's a Battlefield game, but there's a new mechanic where you're a cop and you can identify yourself as a cop by flashing your badge and then properly arrest suspects. And it's different from just like sneaking up behind them and clubbing them in the head. So it's an entirely new way of playing the games, even though you can just run through with your shotgun and blast holes through walls and kill everybody. So it's a mechanic that I think or at least I hope it'll be adopted by some of the other big shooters, and that you'll be able to go through the option of having an action game, a stealth game, and then having an additional self-made handicap where you have the no-kill, properly arrest and detain everybody option as well.
And now you're talking about the single player, obviously, not really focusing on the multiplayer.
Reminds me of what was the game? I just had it in my head. Dying Light, where essentially it's like that free-running action game in the day, but once it turns night, it's a stealth game.
Oh.
And I think that dynamic in the game, Noah, you and I know it very well. I love that.
With Dying Light, now Dying Light was a fantastic game. I enjoyed it thoroughly through and through. But you say you go into the stealth mode at night. For me, and you saw this, I just ran and screamed.
Exactly.
I was, nope. Like, but yeah.
So Charles, I'll ask you something then. In regards to Battlefield Hardline, what would you say to the argument? How would you respond to it's just a reskinning rather of past Battlefield games, and it doesn't really offer more?
And this is more so in the multiplayer.
Yeah. Because
in the multiplayer there are some new modes. And I don't necessarily. I agree that it is Battlefield with cops and robbers, but they put the effort into having new modes. And I also think that what they've done with the single player game is really noteworthy, in that there's probably more people taking notice of it in the design community than we're hearing about, and we're probably going to see a bunch of cop games coming out in the future where you're rewarded deliberately for not killing people.
It's a good point.
Okay.
Yeah, and one of the cool things about it is that if you stay in stealth mode, you'll hear lots of wacky dialogue from the henchmen. So if you just charge through the game and kill everybody, you miss out on a lot of backstory in the game, but also just really funny moments between the henchmen talking to each other.
Okay.
My main issue with Hardline was only, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but real quick, it was only that it was $60. If the game was $40, I would have had much more fun with it. But the fact that I dropped $60, I was kind of like, oh man, But I only played about a quarter of the single player, so that's my own fault with that. But anyways, continue.
And the other thing I've been playing is Resident Evil Revelations 2. I've been playing the online raid mode.
Nice.
Sweet.
Is it as bad as the reviewers are saying? Like, I was interested in that, and it's been getting like shabby, decent reviews, and I kind of lost interest. Is it like as bad as they're saying? I'm not a hardcore Resident Evil fan, by the way. I've played 5 is my favorite. That shows how much of a Resident Evil fan I am. I love 5.
All right. Well, this actually, it has a lot in common with 5, but I am one of the hardcore Resident Evil dorks from the old days, so I love the game. I get all the little references, and one of the fun parts about this is in the single player, there are all these little jokes about, Barry is apparently aware that he has horrible communication skills, so he's constantly telling bad jokes on purpose as kind of a retcon of the bad dialogue he had in the first game. You know that in the first game he's like, well, you almost became a Jill sandwich. And in
Jesus.
And in this new one, every now and then he will stop and deliver a very bad pun. And so, the writers, they're doing this just for the dorks that have played all the games and love them.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well,
and the raid mode, it's the online mode. You can also play it single player as like a action mode. But one of the fun things is that when you've leveled up a character with all their perks, you can pass those perks onto other characters and then create like a super character that has everybody's special powers and run around chopping up zombies with, samurai swords and using telekinetic shockwaves. And
those sound
yeah.
Cool. What's your favorite gaming news?
At the moment.
Oh, okay. This is going to be kind of a complex story, but Konami moving into mobile games.
Mobile games.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm not going to say that I'm happy that they're moving into mobile games, but I think that people have been bashing Konami a little too hard, and I think it was Game Informer that did an interview with Hideo Kojima a few months ago, and he talks about how he spent his life making the Metal Gear franchise, and I feel bad for the guy that he's this brilliant leader, this brilliant creator, and he's been shackled to this one game for the last 30 years, and I'm just wondering, what else could this guy do?
Yeah.
Not just in gaming, but in any industry, in any creative endeavor, what could this guy make aside from this one damn game? And as a human species, we should just say, go, you are free, leave Snake behind, and make wonderful things.
Yeah, I mean, it's like having the same job for 30 years. I think about that, and no way. I would not want to even go close to that. The typical, turnover for a job, I'd say, is like anywhere from 4 to 7 years. Now, 30 years is over 3 times that amount. You will just get tired of it and sick of it, and I can't imagine being in his shoes. I mean, of course, it's a great industry, I assume, to work in, but to work on the same game for that long, nah, there's no way.
What's actually pretty funny is that Kotaku made an article about the amount of times Kojima has said that this will be the final Metal Gear game. I'm pretty sure he's been saying it since like 3, that this is the last Metal Gear game.
I'm sure he's
there's been
wanted
so
it
many
to be.
like Peace Walker, there's been Portable Ops, like there've been all these little games for the past like 10 years, and each one he's like, this will be the final Metal Gear game, and like they have his quotes exactly. It's actually really funny, but I agree. I feel kind of bad for him.
It's hard to get, and Charles, you were saying this, that you get pinned to that one game. It's hard to branch out because you want to branch out, but everyone wants you to do this thing, but people get excited when they hear you're branching out, but expect that level of goodness almost, and it's hard. You don't want to fail, but at the same time you want to try something new.
This is something that Ken Levine has recently tried to do, because he's been he worked on Bioshock 1 to Infinite, and he got to the stage where he just got tired and lethargic and thought, I want to do something else. I want to work on something much, much smaller. And that's why most of the studio was let go, and now he and a team of maybe 5-6 people are just working on this small kind of quote-unquote indie style game. And I definitely get that.
I was reading an article. It's an open world sci-fi RPG, and that just from Ken Levine, that's just oh my god, that sounds sick.
See, that's interesting, because when he first like went away from Bioshock Infinite, he said he wanted to work on something on a much smaller scale. That does not sound like a small scale.
Well, 5 people working on a team is not, in AAA standards, is not big. That is considered indie.
What he said, he wants to make a single player game that's constantly replayable with fresh experiences. So maybe that's we're gonna have to see it. It's
I foresee a lot of procedurally generated things then.
That's what I was thinking.
He actually made a post on Facebook a couple months ago of a play that he's writing.
Oh wow!
So he's doing different things.
And so
is it a musical?
So I don't know if it's a musical. He just tweeted this one little page of it. So, if everybody cyber stalks him, he'll eventually produce it somewhere, and there'll be a legion of video game fans coming there to see his play.
Attacking him, yeah. Jesus.
Cool. Anyways,
Well, while we're talking about Ken Levine, I want to go next because the game I've been playing this week is BioShock. Actually,
yes.
yeah.
Whoa.
Oh man, it's just been I was actually playing it right before this podcast. Me and Noah were on Skype for like an hour, and I was just playing it again. It's just so good. It doesn't get old. I love it. Like, there's no other way to put it. There's nothing like wrong with the game in my eyes at all.
It's
the only thing that bothers me that was fixed in Infinite was like the fact that I can't have my plasmid and my gun out at the same time. But it's like, I don't even care. Oh my God, it's such a work of art.
It's such a beautifully crafted game, from the visual appeal of it to I still love the combat. You know, with you can hold plasmids and you can hold guns. I mean, it's kind of the right balance between regular FPS
Zap
and
'em and whack 'em.
futuristic. Yeah, exactly. Like that, and that first time when you get the plasmid, they're like, all right, try the 1-2 combo. You're like, bam, bam. It was fucking awesome. I love it.
I love the Castlevania-esque style of gameplay they have when it comes to world exploration, because they're essentially, because it's an older game, they're like set levels, but these levels are big. And
they're not as linear as they could be.
Yeah, exactly. And like there are parts where like if I get a certain plasmid and I'll go back to a frozen wall and I'll burn down this frozen wall with the incinerate plasmid, and there'll be like a recordable audio diary that I'll pick up, and there'll be like a room with a safe in there, and there'll be like extra little things that reward me for my exploration, which is why I always compare BioShock and Fallout, because they both, though they are totally different games in the sense of setting, their ideas and like way they reward the gamer through exploration and like the world is a story and stuff, they're so similar in those regards. And I think that's part of the reason I love BioShock. Also, the soundtrack's the same. I made a whole video on it on just how wonderful BioShock is. It's such a amazing universe. It's one that I'm sad to see kind of go, but I already know that 2K is going to bring it back. There's too much money to be made to not bring it back after Infinite.
Yeah.
And I think that's
we'll be talking about the BioShock. Sorry.
No, continue. It's all good.
We're going to be talking about the BioShock 4 leaks in a year from now or 2 years from now. That, you know, what I'll say about that is I really hope 2K takes the team that did Spec Ops: The Line and puts them on the next BioShock, because they are the perfect people to do it.
They are. Spec Ops: The Line is a fucking amazing game. Like, that game will mess with you.
You told me that. You wanted to get it, and I never...
we had a guest on, Jonathan. He knows who he is. And he was on our second episode, and he's played Spec Ops: The Line dozens of times, and that's not an exaggeration. And like, it's just, he says like it gets him every time, because it's like from real war perspective, and like people were like looking up connections and stuff. Like there's this whole thing behind the game. Like it was so bad that like I think like some people came out of the game like shell shocked and shit. Like it's crazy. So I feel like
critic.
And there's that, not to interrupt you, but there's that element of choice in the game that's like there's not really always a right and wrong choice. The writers were brilliant with it, where it's always sometimes this gray, like, was that right? Did I do the good thing? You know, did I do what I wanted to?
And that's the exact same thing with BioShock. I mean, with the little sisters, you have to choose every time whether to harvest the atom or save them, and you only get a small amount. And especially if you're playing on a hard difficulty in this, you know, underground utopia that just went completely wrong, or undersea rather, you kind of, you're trying to decide, should I harvest the little sister? I'll feel bad about it, but I'll be able to survive. And it's those moral choices which are really, really grey that I think make a lot of video games brilliant.
You lost some of that in Infinite, though. You know,
but like, because like in the, like when you start harvesting or rescuing the little sisters, like Tenenbaum is like, well, I'll reward you if you just keep saving these little sisters. And you're like, well, what's that reward? So do I just keep saving them? Because sometimes, you know, that sometimes the good thing doesn't give you the best reward, but you're a better person for it.
Yeah.
So it's just like the little things, like you're entirely right, Charles, that if they put the team behind Spec Ops: The Line on it, that would definitely be great.
So I just want to say one quick thing though about BioShock. Usually, like, and I think most of us in a video game, we will always choose more likely than not the good choice. BioShock was the first game where I harvested the sister because I thought it was the better option for me as a player. The very first game that I actually went against that, you know, good norm. And that was kind of, it was just new to me, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think
Charles, I know you had wanted something to say.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, to tangent back to Spec Ops: The Line, there's a critic that wrote a 200-word review as a book just on Spec Ops: The Line. It's called "Killing is Harmless," I think, and it's literally 200 pages that analyzes every single room, every single choice that you make throughout the entire story.
I think that's what. Yeah, that's I think what I was talking about earlier. That's apparently like that's what people were saying with the connections to the real world and stuff.
Holy
for
shit.
Spec Ops: The Line. I know they're doing something with BioShock though, because 2K. I think it was even though they're shut down now. I think it was 2K Australia. I want to say, but. Someone from 2K tweeted a picture of BioShock, it was like an Eve machine or like a Gatherer's Garden machine or something like that. And they're like, "What could this mean?" Like with a question mark, like a tease. It was years ago though. I haven't heard a thing since, but everyone thought it was like a BioShock 1 and 2 remastered, which is something I slightly hold my breath for.
Yeah.
But I want the whole bundle now because this was like right after last year at some point. This is right after Ken Levine shut down Irrational Games. But let's move on to my news bit so I don't take up too much of the podcast. I want to talk about the trend of Kickstarter games. I like it. I'm not complaining about it because I've seen a lot of, and this kind of works with what you were saying, Charles, about Kojima. I can see him, once he's done with Metal Gear Solid 5, I can see him going straight to Kickstarter for his next game because like the guy who was behind like all the really good Castlevania games apparently, he left Konami and he just started a Kickstarter for a spiritual successor to all the Castlevania games. I forgot what it was called, but that's not really the point. That this thing was funded in a day. It was like funded so fast because now the developers are going to Kickstarter and working with the fans to give them what they want. And they have all these stretch goals. Like if we get this amount of money, we'll put it out on physical copies. And, I like this a lot because I see, I think Ken Levine hasn't done Kickstarter, but I could see like people like him who leave these big companies and go to Kickstarter to make what they want. And I'm really happy that people are not afraid to leave and just follow their passion because that shows where the good games are. Like Shovel Knight's a good example of a game created by Kickstarter that was just so good.
See, it's funny that you mentioned that though, because funny enough, some of the people that left Irrational to start their own studio, Black Glove, they started a Kickstarter and failed miserably. So it's,
I do remember that.
Yeah,
that was a shame.
Really disappointing because I, donated myself. And I thought, you got people from BioShock, creators of this amazing game, and it just went to shit. So it's funny what takes off and what doesn't. And that's the only thing that I'm a bit funny about with Kickstarter.
Also, you're going to
designers
Sorry. You're going to have people cashing in trying to be like, oh, these people are doing it, why don't I? And they're
Oculus Rift.
Careful with
Let's take $2 million and fucking...
Careful with that, because Oculus is actually kind of sitting back and doing some stuff right now. I'm not saying I'm necessarily...
They were funded and then they took Facebook's fucking money. Yeah. That was bullshit.
Well, what were you going to...
the designers of Eternal Darkness, which is arguably the best Dreamcast game, the best GameCube game. Oh. I'm sorry, I said it wrong. So it's the best GameCube game. And, they did a Kickstarter where they had, a playable level where, they had new assets, new story, and they didn't get funded. And I was astonished because, these were people that they have a proven history of making awesome things and a partially completed demonstration of what they can do and just couldn't get the money.
Yeah.
Huh.
A little surprising.
I've never honestly
It also relies a bit on the press where they're like, when the money starts flying and the press jumps on it, covers it, it gets more people's attention and then the more people start donating, which kind of sucks. But
that's exactly what happens.
Yeah. Well, quickly on from that, my news is about Oculus Rift, and they've recently released the recommended PC specs that you'll need to run the damn thing, and minimum you need a GTX 970.
What?
Yeah. Funny enough, I just bought one.
I was about to say, isn't that what you just bought?
Yeah.
That's what I want. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's like minimum 8 gigs of RAM, just crazy high specs. But if you can run it,
quiet, Lone.
Sorry.
You're good.
Did I go quiet? I'm sorry.
Still a little quiet.
Hello, can you hear me?
There you go.
Yeah, it's all good. I'll be fine on my recording. But no, it's
that's right.
It's really it's really interesting to see how they have such high specs for it, because do you know how much that's going to severely limit the audience for the Oculus Rift? Like, tremendously. It's such an expensive hardware to have to buy, let alone buying the, you know, PC that can actually run it. It will be thousands of dollars.
Well, because it's a 3D system, you essentially need enough horsepower to run everything twice.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Exactly. So, I don't know. I thought that was just interesting, and I brought it up.
That's what you're...
Holy
someone
shit.
racing down the street by Charles.
Is that your drug dealers, Charles? In the map?
Yeah, I live in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, on the one block. But I live on the one block that hasn't been gentrified, so all the crime from like a square mile is now concentrated right in front of my living room.
Oh, dear God.
Jesus.
All right. Let's move on to the fade questions, the final segment of this podcast. We have a lot of...
Heard none of them.
They're not bad this week. They're not as crazy as last week.
As last week's.
Yeah, no, not at all. In fact, they're all about like gaming and stuff.
Okay.
So let's start off with the first one that comes from @OutlawExplorer. He says, do you think Pete Hines' absence on Twitter has to do with the leak? #HamRadioTime. So in case no one knows, Pete Hines tweets almost every day. He hasn't tweeted for about a week now. And the day he stopped tweeting rather, was the day that the leak happened. And one thing I do want to mention is that, for those of you who know, Pete Hines is a big Washington Capitals fan. They got knocked out of the playoffs by the Rangers, and usually he live tweets the games. He didn't say a word about that either. I think he's a Wizards fan as well, and I'm pretty sure they just got knocked out of the playoffs. Didn't say a word about that. So he's off Twitter for some reason. Do we think it has to do with the leak?
I think he's buried himself or jumped off a bridge or something. He's just quit. He's done.
In my
I
opinion,
did notice on his Twitter, sorry, I forgot to throw this in there.
Yeah.
I apologize. Is that he was complaining before that. He said something like, I said to my wife that with the week I'm having, I wouldn't be surprised if the Caps got blown out 4-0 tonight, and it seems they're on pace to do that, and they were actually down like 4-1. But, so yeah, I just want to throw that in, that something was going wrong before that, so...
Poor guy.
I'd be interested to know whether other Bethesda employees are also active on Twitter, because my guess, kind of conspiracy theory, is that the heads up at Bethesda just told everyone, get the fuck off social media. That's honestly my best guess.
That's a good point.
So
I know that the official Bethesda account they were silent for like 2 days, and then they tweeted something about like Wolfenstein or the Evil Within's Consequence DLC or some shit. Like, you know, they just kind of came back.
Classic marketing stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But they were quiet afterwards for a while. One thing I do find very interesting, and I feel like the silence is biting in the ass, is because when there's a host that's as widespread, especially as this one, Bethesda steps in and says, treat all rumors and speculation as false, or Pete Hines says something on Twitter to respond to all of this, nothing. Well, I think it has to do with the leak. I feel like with that said, it does.
I would agree with you, without a doubt.
As would I.
What are you thinking, Charles?
I suspected that it's right. That they've probably gone into some kind of massive, not necessarily damage control, but they've probably gone into a social media blackout to prevent anyone else from screwing up, or to prevent anyone from saying, "Oh yeah, I worked on that too. Yeah, I know that guy. It's definitely Fallout 4. Yeah.
Oh man.
That's awesome.
And it's kind of like if one person makes the mistake, everybody else will. Oh, we can talk about that now. Oh yeah.
Nope. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one's set before the Great War. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be the best Wii U exclusive ever.
Don't say that too loud.
Exclusive to the Vita.
Don't get me worked up, man.
We're gonna put the N-Gage back on the map, man.
The Virtual Boy.
Just to be clear, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, I was employing satire previously.
I love how you have to preface everything with, I don't know anything, this is just me as a fan making a guess or an assumption.
Exactly. Jesus.
Anyway.
Next question comes from @MonsterMain123. He says, do you think small details will be shared before the E3 conference, like concept art, or no?
Probably.
I'm thinking no, especially because of the silence.
Yeah.
That if they were like, oh, well, cat's out of the bag, let's tease them, I feel like they would have done it a little bit sooner.
I feel like
I don't know. I felt it was a good discussion.
They're gonna want the discovery thing, like when if it shows up on that big screen, you know, whatever it is, that's what they're gonna want, that initial like wow factor. You know, they're not gonna lose that with the screenshots.
Yeah, they're gonna have like fireworks and 20 guys and, you know, power armor tap dancing around behind them.
Like
really?
Everyone's I always have that comment where someone like takes life a little too seriously and like gets into this fucking crazy mode where they're like Todd Howard enters the stage followed by 2 Brotherhood of Steel troopers. He says the time has come. I'm ready to announce Bethesda's next big project, and like they get all into it and they type out this whole scenario in the comments.
Paragraphs.
Yeah, and it gets like 1 million thumbs up, and they're like, "Oh, that'd be so cool."
They get so into it.
full out online.
I feel like they're not going to do this because it's not like everyone's looking back at Fallout 3. I'm sorry, I just hit my desk. Everyone's looking back at Fallout 3, and they're thinking to themselves how the concept art and stuff was coming out a year before, and then there was like E3 with the gameplay trailer. It's very different because Bethesda, it was public immediately that they bought the rights to the Fallout franchise and that their next game was going to be a Fallout game. Whereas this, no one really knows, at least with the unofficial confirmation, we know almost practically 99% for sure, but no one knows for sure what their actual next game is. And I feel like their marketing scheme, if you want to say they even need one, will come after E3. It's nothing's gonna happen before it.
Well, they're gonna need one. I mean, granted, there's a lot of people in the speculation zones that we're in, you know, of excitement, but that doesn't mean you don't.
Yeah, there's a lot more people outside of us than
exactly. But yeah,
cool.
And if you think about, you know, teenagers, they're just, you know, just now, you know, being old enough to be allowed to go out and buy their own video games that, you know, their parents wouldn't even buy them Fallout 3 or New Vegas.
Yeah.
You know, those kids, they're now getting their first taste of Fallout.
Yeah, like I've said before, there are people who discover my channel who don't know a thing about Fallout and they get into Fallout and they're like, wow, this is amazing. I've never played it before. So there is still that, like you said, that growing crowd of people who haven't played it before.
And there's also people that have played Elder Scrolls that haven't played Fallout, which is this day that surprises me. Like I'm stuttering.
That doesn't. I don't get that at all. I don't want to say it's the same thing, but they're the same. You get the same pleasure factor out of how you play the
Skyrim
game.
with guns.
The universe.
Yeah.
One of them doesn't have horses for some reason.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we still don't know why Skyrim doesn't have horses.
Nice. Anyway.
Next question comes from @all_Fallout. We've been using you a lot, my friend, but you have good questions. This is a really good one too. He says, how mad do you think Bethesda is now that their cover was blown so shortly from E3? My beans would be steamed, I tell you what.
My beans would be steamed. Oh, I'm gonna get that tattooed on my forehead. They're probably
I'd be fucking mad.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Putting it bluntly.
I don't know if someone got fired over this, but I'm sure someone got definitely yelled at.
Well, it was a 3D.
They've hidden the game for so long, and they're a month away from the big reveal, supposedly, and this happens.
Yeah.
Well, let's look at the industry insiders that have also said E3, you know, is going to be the day. So it's not like it's been nothing, completely silent on the front, and then this happened. Also with the Kotaku leaked scripts. So I don't think, in my opinion anyways, everyone's viewing this as this is it, you know, Fallout 4 is confirmed. I don't know if Bethesda is looking at it like that. I think they know that there's been past leaks in the past, you know, with the casting calls, with these industry insiders, and this is just another thing that they're going to have to deal with. And as a developer, as a publisher, these things happen, move on, get over it. I think that's their view, to be honest.
That's a good point.
Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's like with the little things, you know, they can kind of have them blow over. But with this, I feel like it's such a wide scale thing. Like everyone's heard about it that it's kind of like pissed them off.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's also, they're new to this. This is their first ever E3 conference. They're kind of like, what the fuck do we do when there's a big league like this? They're all kind of rookies when it comes to this type of exposure, I guess.
I think silence is probably the best because anything that you say is going to be scrutinized and, you know, looked at and analyzed 1,000 times over by thousands of fans. So, yeah.
I can just imagine them being the angry parent in the front seat of the car. I swear, one more leak about this damn game, and we're gonna go back and make Rage 2.
We're turning right around and making Wayne Gretzky hockey. I swear to God. Or Brink, new Brink.
Wayne who, Noah?
I said Wayne Gretzky, but as it came out, it was like Wayne Gretzky.
Scissor Grizz. Anyways, fourth question comes from @PugsOnDrugs. He asks a non-Fallout related question. Favorite cast of characters from any game? Oh, do you know what cast I'm gonna pick, boys? Do you know? Can you guess?
Good one.
Star Wars.
Yeah, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. What a cast. What a fucking cast. Oh my god. Top down, left, right, every member of the cast in this game is fantastic. And I'm done. I've said it enough.
Okay.
Any question you ask me from an outside game, I'm going to say Knights of the Old Republic. Like, for God's sakes, people, if you haven't fucking played it.
How's this other than Knights of the Old Republic? Oh, Rectum. not Rectum isn't like the butt muscle.
I thought that's what you were saying. A cast of characters.
I'm kidding, Matt. You answered the question.
No, I'm thinking like maybe
this is a hard one.
Borderlands 1, maybe?
I was going to say Borderlands 1.
Dude,
Fucking son of a bitch.
Yeah. You guys are all just
Salty.
shriveling under me.
Fuck it. I'm going to say Borderlands 2. Screw it.
That's
Borderlands
Borderlands
2.
a pre-sequel.
Well,
Fuck
it's
you.
pretty much the same characters.
Anyway, Charles?
See, what I like about Borderlands 2 is it kind of brings out more character in the characters from Borderlands 1 as well.
That's what I like.
I won't specify certain sad moments in the game, but
Can we talk about those sad moments? Spoiler alert right now, if you haven't played
How
Borderlands
sad
2.
they weren't.
Oh my god. All right, We've given the spoiler. If you haven't played Mass Effect. If you haven't played Borderlands 2, then
Mass Effect had a pretty awesome cast.
yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You know what? Okay, I'm going to give Lone the Borderlands. I'll take Mass Effect.
Okay. But
Borderlands 2, when what's the name of the guy with the hawk?
Roland?
Bloodwing.
Roland died too, though, didn't he?
Roland dies.
Almost everyone
Bloodwing.
except I think the girl died. Each death was so sad.
No,
too.
Mordecai didn't die, but his bird did.
The bird
that's what
died.
it was. His bird's head exploded. Remember that?
No,
Bloodwing
see,
so
got
fucked.
I was playing with my friend. It's this epic battle. We're like, Bloodwing, we're going to save you. Because I played as Mordecai in the first game. And I'm like, no, this is my pet. I need to fucking save this thing. And we saved it. We controlled it. And then fucking Handsome Jack explodes the fucking head. I was frustrated. Oh my god. Anyway.
I wonder if they thought of any other names for Handsome Jack, like Dapper Danny.
Definitely.
What about you, Charles? Favorite cast?
Oh, I'm going to go with Street Fighter 2.
Oh, that's a good answer.
In terms of iconic characters that they've lived with us for 25 years, that's a magnificent group of people.
Yeah.
They all served a purpose. Those original 8 characters, and the company has just made them grow and develop them over the years. Even the difference between Ken and Ryu has slowly spread out with each sequel. So there we go.
Anyone hearing a small buzzing, or is that my headset?
It was just the faint. I think it was.
All right, I was just sorry to interrupt. I just want to make
on
sure.
Street Fighter 2.
Oh, we're talking about fighting
on
cast
Street Fighter
characters.
2, okay. Go watch Smooth McGroove doing his renditions of the Guile theme, of the Ryu theme. They're absolutely incredible. Because you know how the Guile theme goes with everything? Have you seen those videos, guys? You need to Google that right now and enjoy it after the podcast. That's all
I
I'm
will.
saying. Yeah. All right.
Noah says he will, but he won't.
Fucking
From a
Lincoln.
fighting cast standpoint, Super Smash Brothers, like they are just wonderful. I love them so much. Because like they have the very similar to Street Fighter. They do have the iconic 8, where it's like Captain Falcon, Pikachu, Mario, Luigi, Peach.
Fucking Peach.
5 that come to mind.
Bitch.
Actually, no. On fighting games, do you know what really has a
Fox.
good cast? Killer Instinct on the Xbox One. That has an excellent
I
cast.
love that game. That's still
Killer Instinct
down.
is cool, yeah.
Besides Sunset Overdrive, that's my favorite exclusive for the Xbox One. Killer Instinct is a free game. You spend $20, you get a good cast of characters. You spend a little extra money, you get more characters and stages and whatnot.
Well, the old Killer Instinct too, like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
But it's so good. It's such a different fighter too in the terms of like it's all about long combos and it's really tactical though. I love it.
Glacius, Folgor, Orchid. Oh.
Fuck Glacius. Such a slow character.
Excuse me? Glacius is amazing.
Let's go. 1v1.
All right. We're gonna move on before a fight breaks out.
Nice segue, Noah. What, do you want ice cream now or something?
Oh my god. I'm done with
last
that.
question.
This last one is mainly for you, Charles. It says, it comes from @EvanBradshaw2. He asks, how hard and how long does it take to make an episode for the Shoddycast lore series?
Ooh, all right. I start working on the script. It usually takes... Oh, sorry.
You have really bad feedback in your mic right now. I don't know, maybe try just unplugging and plugging it back.
Okay, give me just a second. I'm going to disappear.
All right.
And through the power of editing, we will come back.
Leave that in, please.
Okay. How do I sound now?
Ooh.
Still there, but we're almost at the end of the episode. It's okay.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to try one more thing. Hang on.
Okay.
If not,
I can't
I'm
tell
just making
actually
to speak a slightly bit lower.
This is the please stand by music.
I was like, that's
It's a
like
picture of Please Stand By from Fallout. People think it's a Fallout 4 teaser.
It's okay. We can edit this. The
While
power.
he's not here, let's talk about how mean Charles is.
That's just,
Dude, his voice is just golden. What the fuck,
does.
man?
It really is.
that's a big voice.
Holy shit!
He
Like,
joined and I was just melting in my pants.
He should be joining back any second now. Sorry for technical difficulties.
it's alright.
It's not a ham radio podcast without technical difficulties. But you know who didn't have a technical difficulty this week? It was me. It was Noah.
Okay.
It was Charles.
You're back.
Perfect.
He's
How's it
back.
going, Charles?
All right. Do I sound better?
Sound
You sound
fantastic.
great.
Yeah. Now,
Okay,
Maddie, just
cool. I
ask
think
the question
that's my
like you
Wi-Fi.
did,
Yeah, let me ask the question again.
so we can segue.
This one's for you, Charles, and it's from Evan Bradshaw on Twitter, and he asks, how hard and how long does it take to make an episode for the Shoddycast lore series?
Incredibly long and incredibly difficult. It all starts with me coming up for some idea for an episode based on something I remember from one of my old plays from the last time I went through it. And then I pitch that to Josh and say, hey, what if we do a thing about Junktown? And then I go through and play all the missions related to that, which, you know, depending on what it is, it can be an entire afternoon just running around Junktown or running around playing every mission that has a dog in it if the episode is about dogs.
Jeez.
Damn.
And then it hypothetically takes, you know, a few hours to write the script, but usually I write it and then set it aside. And then a couple days later, I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning going, this will be better if I just squeeze in one more pretentious literary reference. And then sometimes I'll go insane and I will go and I'll think, hey, I can have a reference to, the novel Damnation Alley here. And then I'll go and read an entire novel just because I want to put in the one reference to the one character.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Which I'm just going to tell you, season 3, episode 3, you will understand that I went and read an entire book just to make that one reference.
Oh my god.
Shit.
You are the man.
But hypothetically, it takes an afternoon to do the research and then about another afternoon or an evening to write the script. Then I send it off to Josh, and Josh is the director at Shoddycast. Josh and Kyle are the two guys in charge of it. So he tinkers with it and then sends it off to the animators, who will spend a couple of weeks and sends it to the voice actor, Jason.
Damn.
And Jason tells us as soon as he gets the voice scripts, he jumps right into it because they're more fun than the usual voice acting work. And, most voice acting work is, thank you for calling. Your call is important to us. Stay on the line.
Jesus.
And so me and Jason are both that voice at a bunch of different companies. But Jason apparently has a really quick turnaround. He jumps right on them. But from the time that I have a crazy idea to the time that it actually gets up where people can see it, it's about 6 weeks.
Wow.
That's incredible.
Wow.
That's
Now,
absolutely
see,
incredible.
My question is, you said you like play through certain missions to like pertaining to your Fallout lore focus. Do you ever use like Fallout Wiki or like Nukipedia, like any online sources to help you round out the information or make it easier? I've always wondered that. Because like for me, I ran compared to ShoddyCast, a shitty Fallout lore series where I just use online sources and my knowledge from the game to write up my own lore series, kind of focusing on the little things in the Fallout universe so that it was at least something you could separate from it. But I'm just asking, did you use anything from online, really?
Yeah, that's the second step. Well, actually, I guess the third step. The first is just what I remember from when I played the games. And then I do a playthrough specifically doing everything possible related to that. And then after I've started typing things up, I'll go to the wiki and look to see if there's any additional lore or non-canon stuff. Or if there's an alternate ending, what would have happened if I'd done the evil ending and sold Veronica to the cannibals, or and with Fallout 1 and 2, I'm a little obsessive, and I'll get the actual text file of everything that the character can say in the game and read through the whole thing line by line out of context. Just because, maybe Tycho will say something really cool, or, Katya doesn't like dogs, and and that'll be a thing.
Okay, can I ask a question? I've watched ShoddyCast right from the beginning, and I remember season 1. The episodes were much longer, and the machinima wasn't as like the artist. It was just still shots of places in the game
falling.
Yeah. But now in season 2, you guys step that up a lot, and the actual machinima is much, much more improved. But because of that, you have reduced the length of the video to like 5, 6, 7 minutes maybe, as opposed to 10 minutes plus. How have you dealt with that criticism? Because I knew that with season 2, there was a lot of that. A lot of people said, I want the longer videos. I don't care about this flashy machinima. How have you dealt with that?
3 Dogs was 17 minutes. Oh my God.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, 3 Dogs, it actually took me a month to write that.
Oh.
Yeah, because I it's like the idea of having Edna have Eddie's unlockable audio logs was something that I really struggled. How am I going to plausibly do this? And how am I going to make sure that, the storyteller has something interesting to do in between hearing the logs? Yeah. But as for the different style, for those of you who haven't seen it, the first season is kind of like a Ken Burns documentary with these slow panning shots over still photographs, and it's kind of written and narrated that way, and we never actually see who the narrator is or who he's telling the stories to until the last episode of season 1.
Yeah.
And then in season 2, our narrator and his camera bot Edna are their characters in the world that are usually walking around someplace related to the story that they tell.
Yeah.
And the way that we've dealt with the criticism is we started a Patreon campaign, and we told people if they give us enough money, we will produce the scripts on a weekly basis. So they're going to, for season 3, it's going to be these little 6-7 minute scripts coming out every week instead of every other week. So you're getting, just as much content as the first season, but the quality of animation from the second season.
That's very smart. Very, very smart.
Oh yeah, and we're also we're giving the storyteller his own little mission. So from episode to episode, he and his group of original companions are going to be traveling somewhere. I won't say where, but they're going to be having their. But Damnation Alley is a hint. So the book, not the movie. So they're going to have their own little. Yeah, jot it down. So, they're going to have their own little mission that goes from story to story. And while they do that, they're going to be talking with each other about the lore of what the Vault Dweller and the Lone Wanderer and the Chosen One and the Courier went through.
Yeah. That's really cool. Honestly, though, Charles, we would like to say, and I'm sure Maddie and Noah completely agree.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate the ShoddyCast lore series. It's absolutely incredible. I mean,
respect the work 100%.
How does it feel though having Bethesda tweet out your work everywhere?
Every time the Facebook page for Bethesda always tweets out the ShoddyCast videos, and
yeah, that feels really cool. But I got to clarify, I just write the scripts. Josh and Kyle are the ones that organized it, and Tommy and Ben, they do the animation. So when sometimes I'll just write. So. Yeah, it's like, I'll write, narrator beats up the Legion, and then, they do this huge musical number, and Yeah, and then Jason has become the voice of Fallout lore. So I'm just one part of the team, but I'm really happy that that fans like it. I'm happy that Bethesda tolerates us, even promotes us. So I mean, it's a project that I thought we would do like 12 episodes of it, and the internet would throw rocks at us and make fun of us, and now we're like 40 episodes into it. So I'm delighted just to be here.
Awesome.
I mean,
here's to many more.
Yeah,
right?
definitely, without a doubt.
Yeah, well, if Fallout 4 doesn't come out anytime soon, we'll be making, another 40, 50 episodes right up until it comes out. So.
Have you guys ever, one final question just I want to ask before we close this out is, have you guys ever considered that, like how you're going to adapt to the launch of Fallout 4? Are you just going to go into like heavy lore research mode? Or are you guys going to focus on stuff from 3, New Vegas, 1, 2, etc., and kind of let 4 kind of play its course and then go back to that and do more lore on that? Or have you guys just not thought that far ahead?
I don't know if the rest of the team has thought that far ahead, but I have. And when I came up with the idea of the storyteller's little mission, and again, there's a hint in the book, Damnation Alley. So I have a plan on what will happen and what we'll do up until the time that Fallout 4 comes out. And as soon as Fallout 4 comes out, I'll have it pre-downloaded on Steam, and I'll chug some Red Bull and crystal meth and play the whole damn thing. And so I mean, as soon as Fallout 4 comes out, I'll be there. I'll have taken naps for 72 hours up until the midnight launch, and then bang through the whole thing and write the first lore script about it as quickly as I can. So that's my crazy insane plan, and I don't know if the rest of Shoddycast wants to do that, but that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, you're going to do it.
Yeah, and as the SWAT team's dragging me out of the internet cafe, Shoddycast will. Like we no longer associate with Mr. Battersby. Shoddycast Incorporated has terminated him.
Jesus.
Oh man, excellent.
Anyways, Charles, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure. You're easily our, like Noah said, our most seasoned guest with all this awesome stuff to talk about.
Oh, we didn't talk about my cosplay, damn it.
You did mention it in the beginning a little bit. If you want to see more, obviously his Twitter handle is on screen. You guys can go ahead, look him up, check out some of his pictures and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, does anyone else have any closing words?
Well, I wanted to say now, usually, this is a new phenomenon, Charles, but we have the guest close out the podcast. And I thought there would be no one better with your buttery golden voice to close out the podcast. How you feel it would be appropriate in like your radio voice.
Anyway.
It's all yours, and we'll end the podcast once you finish your little spiel. So take it away.
Okay. Channels never change. No, that was really stupid. That's
ending. That's ending. I'm doing it.
I just didn't want to talk because I didn't want to.
I'm doing it. No, it's happening. Channels never change.
Yet? Okay, cool. That's awesome.
It's ended.
Just make sure you edit in me saying, no, that's stupid. Let's do another one.
And then right there, cut it.